Hello, I'm Chris.
Hi guys, I'm Jen.
So we're back for another part of the story Read-Aloud. So let's get into it. Where is it? Oh, the story is right here. Okay,
That was a
so
struggle.
yeah, we're gonna do the mainline story, which is 40 parts. Pretty sure it's pretty short.
This is some short parts.
I know.
Let's
The
get
event
into it,
ends in
guys.
3 hours, and I
Yeah.
really wanted to do this. So
Please bear with us. We decided to leave everything to the last minute.
no, it's gonna be fun. Okay.
Deer hooves clattered across the stones as a white-haired youth sat before a tea saucer, leisurely pouring boiling water into a teacup in preparation for brewing. Beside the tea saucer, there were also several tri-colored dumplings. The entire scene was one of idyllic serenity. I don't know. Does anyone know how to? The wind blew the wind chimes hanging from the eaves, and the sunlight snuck in under the leaves at an angle, falling on the youth's legs. The gentle tolling in warm sunlight made the youth's eyes begin to droop as he lifted the teacup and enjoyed this cozy afternoon. Until, boom, boom, boom. Hearing the sound of urgent footsteps, Tsukimi Dango let out an almost inaudible sigh and put down the teapot as he turned his head resignedly. Of course.
Tsukimi, bad news. The boss is fighting again.
Trying to hold back the feeling of resignation in his heart and the slight ache in his forehead, Tsukimi raised his head and looked as warmly as he could at his subordinate. He fights every day though, doesn't he? Sometimes 2 or 3 rounds a day. Why the fuss?
It's not that. This time, he's gone to kill Red Leaf Mountain.
Red Leaf? Why is he going to kill Red Leaf Mountain all of a sudden?
It seems that when a few of Red Leaf Mountain's subordinates appeared, they were covered with injuries. After not long, the boss got angry and grumbled. What kind of boss can't even protect his subordinates? And then he rushed off.
How many times have I said to him, our current forces are insufficient to go up against Red Leaf Mountain? Tsukimi Dango got up in a huff and hurried towards Red Leaf Mountain. But before he'd made it more than a few steps, a familiar red figure appeared not far in the distance, leaping and waving his hands as if he just saw a savior appear.
Tsukimi, come quickly. Help!
Seeing how urgent Mintaiko looked, Tsukimi put his still unresolved questions aside and hurried over towards him. As he drew near, a thick reek of blood hit Tsukimi Dango's nose. He looked reflexively to the side of Mintaiko and was relieved to see that Mintaiko didn't have a scratch on him. As he composed himself, Tsukimi Dango looked behind Mintaiko, where some apprentices were carrying a makeshift stretcher, upon which lay none other than that Red Leaf, of whom he'd been scared of all this time.
Tsukimi, what are you standing there for? Come save her.
Right, bring her here. Bring her back here to Venerable Moon first.
Okay.
On to the second one, guys. Boss, apologize for the first one. I don't know what that was.
No, you don't have to. I'm sorry. No, it's a chill read along. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let me go. Hey, no grabbing me by the back of the neck.
Dunk!
Ouch.
Along with a groan, a red little figure was thrown out by the scruff of the neck from the room. Hurt from the fall, Mintaiko rubbed his bottom and slowly pulled himself up, and then actually did not, for a change, have words with the person who threw him out, but rather just felt a little guilty. If Tsukimi Dango hadn't acted quickly just now, then his attempt to help may very well have hurt Red Leaf. If you want to help so badly, then how about you go patrol around? There have been quite a few disturbances lately.
Alright, I guess I'll go. Hey, don't do the blade. I said I was going, didn't I?
Seeing the veins throbbing in Tsukimi Dango's temples, he made the wise decision to depart from the courtyard, although that didn't stop him from muttering all the while as he did.
That guy, he really has learned some respect for his superiors. Next time, I'll definitely teach him a lesson. See if he dares boss me around then.
Boss, when you come back, do me a favor and bring back a bottle of Daigen Joe's special alcohol from Bliss. He trembled at the sudden sound of Tsukimi Dango's voice behind him. He swung his head around, and at the sight of Tsukimi Dango's scowling face made him quicken his pace.
Okay.
And boss, if you could actually act like a boss, then naturally I wouldn't have to overstep my bounds. But if you have a problem with that, then I'll just keep out of it in the future.
I was talking about those other useless guys. Yeah, those good-for-nothings.
Oh, is that right?
Of course. I'm out of here.
Not daring to tarry any longer at this point, Mentaiko made haste out of Venerable Moon.
Boss, you're out. You are too amazing. Even Red Leaf got beat by you this time. We could probably subdue Red Leaf Mountain altogether, couldn't we? Ha. Shoo! Who needs your flattery? Go patrol. There has been disturbances lately, right? Lately, Venerable Moon hasn't had anything come up. Although, the neighboring areas have indeed been getting more and more unruly. There's often been refugees coming on our turf to steal stuff and run amok. Oh, that's been happening? Yep. And if your eminent tactical brilliance you hadn't organized and supported to stand guard, quite a few merchants would have been ruined. At least you've got some sense. But those guys really dare come on my turf and run amok? Seems they don't know who they're dealing with. Come on, let's check it out.
Okay, guys, that was the second
Boss.
part. Let's go on to peace. The street, Venerable Moon, wasn't very big, but wasn't small either. Everyone on the street was perfectly friendly and didn't even have any dissatisfaction with Mentaiko, the local kingpin, who had collected his protection fee from them all these years. Ah, Mentaiko, you came! Thank you!
Even you thank me.
Next month's protection fee still has to be paid. I know. I'll send some mandarin oranges to your house in a bit.
As long as you know.
Ah, Mentaiko's here. Mama, big bro Mentaiko's here. Ah, Mentaiko, you're here. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for you last time, I don't know what I would have done.
Oh, I love the voices. Look at this guy. What are you doing? Look at this guy. What are you doing up? What do you do if you get sick again and can't play next month's protection fee?
Alright. Don't you worry. Next month's 5 lanterns are already weaved. I'll send them around to you all soon. All thanks to the gift of milk and fruit you sent me. Or how else would I have gotten better so quickly?
That wasn't for me.
Oh, right. Not you. Most of the passerbys on the street looked peaceful and even wore faint smiles. They would occasionally stop and chat with other residents on the street and even tease Mentaiko as he strutted down its center, surveying his turf.
Boss, the protection fees we take in a bit are on the small side, and all of what you take in with one hand, you turn around and give to the poor with the other. So, what are we even collecting the protection fee for?
Hearing the complaint at his side, Mentaiko shot a surly glance at the good-for-nothing subordinate from his organization. Under his almost withering glance, the subordinate hastily clamped his mouth shut and ducked down his head.
What do you know? Tsukimi's decisions always have a reason. Right. I don't know nothing. What the heck is that? I don't know nothing?
Double negative. I don't know anything, probably.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing.
Maybe
My
it's
bad,
an English
boss.
grammar class.
See, that's why I'm having a hard time reading, because, okay.
This groveling apology made Mentaiko sigh. Because although the subordinate clearly didn't understand Mentaiko, he could see why his subordinates might misunderstand. But... You stop right there! At the sound of a sharp, berating voice, Mentaiko reflexively turned his head, only to be met by several figures holding bags of money and charging at them. Mentaiko was knocked away from the group, and then they scooped him up, restraining him by the arms.
So what in that?
Nandayo, Kyuni.
No, I heard that. Stay back. If anyone comes close, this little runt gets it. Little runt. You...
I urge you all to let him go. Do you know who's that you grabbed?
I think her voice like that.
This is loud, berating voice, dude.
I'm not sure. Who would you know who this little runt is? Stay back. Give us all your money. Little runt? You said it again, huh? So what? You're not a little runt? Ah, this big guy's gonna kill you. Oh, okay.
Okay, that was the third part.
Now the ruffians come.
Guys, just a little disclaimer. I'm trying my best.
It's for fun. Honestly, if they don't like it, they'll go out.
You can skip the part that you want to listen to. There should be
skip the parts you want to listen to.
Yeah,
right?
there should be parts that you were like, I really want to hear this read aloud badly, and that's for you. Okay, now let's go on to ruffians.
You bastard. You so-and-so. Say that again. Say that to this big guy's face one more time. Boss, don't hit him.
What? Excuse me?
Alright, boss, don't hit him again. You're gonna beat him to death. Tonkotsu ramen, can't you help?
Help who? Help Mentaiko beat this guy up? Or help the robbers escape?
Help me separate them, of course.
It's a gas. Not a sigh.
I'm not sighing, I'm gasping. I don't want to...
Okay. After the tumult died down, a now calm Mentaiko squatted before the hoodlum, whose face was bloodied and bruised. Mentaiko was poking the hoodlum's cheek with the hilt of his sword, looking quite roguish.
Honestly, the vocabulary, you know. Calm down, calm down. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Good, very good. Just like that. Can I let go now?
Now that Mentaiko's had gotten his emotions under control, Unadon carefully released Mentaiko's arms from his grip.
Hey, you guys are perfectly able-bodied. Why go around stealing?
After the cyber Mentaiko's subordinate and Tonkotsu Ramen, as well as Unadon just returned from catching the other hoodlums who have tried to run away. They were looking at that roguish appearance. Oh, what? I said it correctly the first time, right? At that roguish appearance of Mentaiko's and couldn't help but muttering to each other. Chief Advisor surely must not know that his boss runs the streets like this. Dude, stop laughing.
You're so good at this, alright? Right. The boss can only indulge in this side of himself when Tsukimi is not around, or else he'd be hung from the eaves and put in timeout with a lecture about how a leader must comport himself like a leader. Compose?
Comport?
Is that a word?
Unadon couldn't hold back a shiver as he listened to the two talk. He shook his head, attempting to shake loose the agony from his mind.
Hey, I asked you a question.
What? Who on earth would take to stealing if they weren't almost starving to death? What?
Starving? Then why don't you go buy some food?
The entire village is dead. Who has food?
All dead?
These monsters. Those monsters ate our families. If we had the chance, who wouldn't want to lead a good life?
Why do I feel like I've heard this line before? Forget it. What about the master in your jurisdiction?
Dude.
Her voice is okay. Did something happen to him?
No. You gotta stop laughing, dude. And Taiko didn't quite understand why that person averted his gaze, but Unadon and Tonkotsu Ramen couldn't have understood clearer. Not every area's master was willing, like Mentaiko, to protect humans practically. without taking the scent, and humans also weren't all as kind as people of the street. They also feared these Yagoi and their power, and perhaps may have even harmed them before. Unadon walked up to Mentaiko and lightly patted the youth on the shoulder. As if realizing the meaning behind Unadon's actions, despite his youthful appearance, Mentaiko understood now, as well as anyone else who'd lived in this land for as many years as he had.
Perhaps this street has allowed you to forget. And not what kind of hell the lands beyond Vernal Boom streets are like. Whether for humans or for us. Wow, I'm so bad at reading. Okay.
That took you a while. Okay, guys.
I know.
Onto what part is this? Waste?
Honestly, okay. For the future, if
No, if you were actually trying... Okay, guys. We record this we straight up just
honestly,
press record and we don't edit or anything. We
don't edit your part. You haven't been editing. For my 7 videos, I literally just screen record. But
it's just a screen record.
Honestly, if there's a next event with stories like this,
we might try to up our game actually.
Yeah, I know. Put it in iMovie.
Yeah, and actually just add some actual effects and just
because we have a mic, we just
we'll see. Okay, so, next part.
Ping ping. Okay, so we're gonna read Waste now, part 5 of this 40-part story. Okay, we might go to 10 first and then stop the video and do another one. Okay, Waste.
With Unadon's words lingering in his head, Mentaiko had his subordinates sent those folks back to the venerable moon for Tsukimudango to handle. As for himself, he unconsciously nibbled on his fingernails and, without even realizing it, actually walked outside the border of venerable moon territory.
Where's this music though? Oh my god. Okay, let me increase the music a bit.
The turf divided by a simple fence was starkly different from the bustling street in his memory. The scene that lay before him was nearly a wasteland, with traces of past human existence scattered among the weeds sprouting up everywhere.
How could in such a short time?
In his memory, there also used to be a food soul here, but unlike himself, he didn't possess powerful combat ability. Rather, he had exceptional talent in healing others. Against such an innocent, harmless food soul, he never tried to forcibly take away the turf that fell under his protection. He only signed an agreement with him that if he kept the humans here protected, then Mentaiko wouldn't encroach. He was a real kind fellow, so gentle that even Mentaiko felt too ashamed to raise his voice around him. Mentaiko pursed his lips, and ran all the way to the shrine where he'd once seen that food soul. At the time, he'd left in such a hurry that he never even got the fellow's name. But when he got there, the tiny shrine he remembered was now in ruins. The columns, once bright red like the settling sun, were now worn and mottled with the wood underneath showing beneath the peeling paint.
Mottled?
I think it's...
Where did that guy run off to?
Mentaiko looked around for a long while, but there wasn't a trace of a living soul in this barren land.
Could it be?
Mentaiko spotted trace of something reddish-brown on the ground and scowled.
Oh, it's blood.
Sakurajima is a beautiful land with gorgeous cherry blossom trees growing all around. Their blossoms drift on the wind throughout the whole of Sakurajima, lending an air of romance to the land. But the cherry blossoms here, they were so red it was a little too dazzling.
Forget it. Let's go ask around with these old friends.
Oh, okay. That was...
Okay, monsters.
Yep, that was it. It would be pretty safe to say the sight of dissolution all around had done a number. Oh, what was that word? Oh my god! My eyes. Sight of desolation all around had done a number on Mentaiko. He walked the whole way with furrowed brow, not saying a word, completely different from his usual lively and boisterous self. Mentaiko may have looked like a youngster, and his personality even retained the mark of a youthful exuberance. But as an immortal food soul, or Yagoi, as the regular people of Sakurajima would say, he had been through much, much more than his appearance would indicate. Mentaiko finally arrived at the sole entrance to the fallen angel lair. A subtle sense of rust wafting from the massive rock cave made him pull his nose in discomfort. He clamped down tight on his nose. He had a keen sense of smell that made him feel like he was moving a thick pool of blood. and its disgust surging from within made his spine prickle. With brows set tight, the youth forced himself towards the rock wall. Loose stones tumbled and plinked down, but the inside of the cave remained silent and still.
How am I supposed to equal sign sharp? Honestly, the description though, I mean, like, they go.
No, actually, it's decent writing.
Yeah, like for story, it's so sad that I just skipped all of it.
A vein in Mentaiko's temple pulsed slightly. He made a half round, then took steps back, and got a running start towards the cave and leapt, just as his foot was about to touch down again at the cave's entrance. Stop! Stop! Stop!
You finally decided to come out.
If I didn't come out, you were going to tear down my home!
Speak. Where did those humans and the other one go?
Huh? What humans?
The ones that have been living in that little town.
Eaten!
You... Didn't I say no eating people?
You said no eating people on your turf, but they weren't on your turf. These people ate chicken and ducks and ate cows and sheep. Why can't I eat them?
Oh, it's a typo.
It's a typo.
You... How is that the same?
How is it not? They're stronger than those animals, so naturally they can eat them. Well, I'm stronger than them, so why can't I eat them?
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
I know, right?
She's really not wrong. The food chain, you know?
Yeah.
Looking at the righteously self-assured monster before him, Mentaiko couldn't help feeling exasperated. He had no rebuttal to this twisted argument. This was, after all, a dog-eat-dog world. With the first appearance of fallen angels in Sakurajima, when people discovered and feared that they didn't have the strength to defeat them, for a time they were plunged into misery. In the bitter war of resistance that followed, there was born, summoned from the void, the first creature capable of defeating the fallen angels, the Food Soul. And the fallen angels lacked the strength to defeat Food Souls, and so they disappeared without a trace. Those fallen, who for a time were about to annihilate everyone on Sakurajima. After the enemy vanished, those Food Souls with their excessive strength became an obstacle to the human nobles maintaining their grip on power. They changed the people's perception on Food Souls from being partners to being disaster-bringing scourges of humanity, Yagui, into beings that must be exiled. It was only at this time that Food Souls realized that in the eyes of humans, they weren't much different from those other monsters. The hands hanging at Mentaiko's sides clenched and loosened. He grit his teeth, then suddenly thinking of something, he looked up at the monster, listlessly waving its limbs before him.
And what of the other guy? Oh, okay. That was monsters, right?
Yeah. I don't wanna be a monster.
Okay. Grain. Oh, it's very continued, okay. And what of the other guy?
Other guy? Which other guy? Seeing how Okemochi...
Yeah, just stop with it. You sound like Doofenshmirtz. I was like... okay.
Doofenshmirtz, you incorporated. Alright. Seeing how Okemochi was tilting his head and racking his brain, although Mentaiko already knew the answer in his heart, he still felt a flutter of hope.
Okemochi's a male?
Don't assume her, their gender.
Okay.
Perhaps he just got tired and... Perhaps he just got injured and hid.
You were tired.
Perhaps he just left temporarily. Perhaps. It's not as bad as you're imagining. Who knows? Sensing Mentaiko's mood, Ukemochi lifted his chin excitedly and peered at Mentaiko, his mouth curling up into an ill-intentioned smile. You're talking about that fellow that could only heal others? Mentaiko's eyes lit up, and he raised his head to meet the gaze of the fallen angel before him. For the Food Souls of Sakurajima, because of their own tragic experiences and their understanding of fallen angels, after their many run-ins with them, and also because of some inexplicable feeling of sympathy, they didn't see fallen angels anymore as enemies that must be wiped out like they did at first. Not every fallen angel was naturally cruel and ruthless, and not every fallen angel incessantly brought harm upon humans. Sometimes they were no different than food souls, just creatures living in Sakurajima. Their sense of these fallen angels has shifted from an imperative to kill them in the very beginning to a point now where it wasn't impossible that they could coexist, as long as no lives were crossed. After all, they were both detested by humans. Although they would both hold nothing back when it came to blows, there was no more of that take no prisoners approach to the past.
Right. What of him? Was he injured?
Him! As Minteko looked on with the gleam of hope in his eye, the smile on Ugemochi's spread wider, and suddenly her tentacles lifted her slowly into the air so that she looked down wickedly and hauntingly upon Minteko. If he's gone, then who's to say if I don't have the courage to battle with you? The spirit power rising from Ukemochi made his eyes go wide, and the sudden surge in spirit power also instantly made him understand his opponent's intentions. If you hadn't come, I'd have to go looking for you. After all, a food soul spirit power is still the most delicious of the delicacies.
That was green, right? Unsolved. Okay.
As Ukemochi morphed into a beautiful glowing light that slowly dissipated into the air, Mentaiko sunk into silence, reminded of the disappearance of food souls that he previously witnessed. I need to find you. I gotta find you. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, do it. With the only person capable of giving him an answer now dead, the question would now forever remain unanswered. And this fact made his chest tighten up in anger. And what more is, he didn't know whom he could unleash it on. It was all the fault of the fallen angels and humans, and even food souls, and there was no end to it. His shoulders sunk in dejection, and with lowered head he walked back towards Venerable Moon. But before he'd gotten far, he felt the unmistakable feeling of a pair of eyes watching him from the shadows, bringing him to a halt.
Come out. What is this? Why are you slinking around, following me?
Master seeks you out for some matter.
Master?
Bliss. Without even waiting for Mentaiko's response, Mako Ichiyaboshi returned to the shadows. When Mentaiko went after him, the only thing left on the ground was a ripple like one could see in the water.
What is that old Daijinjo mock me? Doesn't he usually go to Tsukimi Dango with his problems?
What? Daigijo. My bad.
Daigijo.
Suddenly I couldn't speak Japanese. Nandesore. The sudden interruption temporarily made Mentaiko forget his recent gloom. He took a deep breath and stopped his cheeks.
Alright. No way, a triple matter is gonna stop the world's greatest, the main man, Mentaiko. As long as I'm around, things are bound to get better.
I actually slapped my face, guys.
1, 2, 3.
Things they do for these stinking sound effects. My goodness.
Okay, so I'll read 2 more and then we're gonna stop the video for another part. So Bliss.
Although most humans didn't know, among the Yagoi, the boss of Bliss had made quite a name for himself. Ever since being labeled as Yagoi with the nobles of Sakurajima, the vast majority of food souls hold themselves up in the places distant from the humans, even if they lived in human society, assuming human identities as covered. Very few developed as a close relationship with them as he did. When Mentaiko arrived at Bliss, the day was still young, and there weren't really anyone in the main hall. Only a few hired hands were wiping down tables and sweeping out the empty hall. Mentaiko peered around at the brazen decorated paintings around the hall, and a faint hue of red tinged his cheeks. He then rubbed his nose and turned his gaze away, trying to find the one who'd given him the summons just now, Mako Ichiyaboshi. Just as he turned his head, he was given a fright by Mako Ichiyabushi, who was standing silently behind him.
Whoa! What are you doing standing behind me for?
Here. Mako Ichiyabushi wasn't one to prattle on. Paying no heed to Mentaiko's outburst, he simply turned around and proceeded deeper inside Bliss. Those who at first were going to bar Mentaiko's way now withdrew their hands upon seeing that it was Mako leading his way. Mentaiko followed Mako deep into Bliss. In the past, he'd only ever come here to pick up alcohol for Tsukimi Dango, but at those times, he always waited at the entrance for Tsukimi to come out. This was his first time to actually, finally enter the interior Bliss. During the day, the interior Bliss did not have the feeling of sumptuous luxury that one would imagine. The bright sunlight poured in through the windows into the interior of the establishment, revealing a place that was quite clean and tidy. Mentaiko looked curiously around him.
You actually looked.
But aside from those somewhat risque paintings on the walls, the place wasn't much different from any other tavern.
Honestly, it's so extra with all these little details. Oh. Oh, maybe he's like in awe.
Oh. As he was eyeing his surroundings, Mentaiko suddenly bumped into the back of the person in front of him, rubbing his nose. He looked up to see Mako Ichiyabushi stopped in his tracks. Mako didn't give any reaction to being bumped into. He just coldly turned his head and gave Mentaiko a look, and then held his index finger to his lips. Shh! Mako Ichiyabushi beckoned him with his hand, then held an ear to a thin sliding door. Meanwhile, a confused Mentaiko followed his example and held his ear to the door too. Which depth has the night parade of demons reached now?
With Ewan, of course, you don't even have to mention Venerable Moon. That guy, Inarizushi, is a pain to listen to. But if there's some good wine, then he'll accept the invitation. The trouble is Red Leaf and Baki.
I may have an in with Red Leaf. The biggest pain will probably be Bachi. Arranging a sit-down with him is one thing, but the sea mirage there, we can't even set foot on Bachi Island.
Just like you created a voice for him.
What?
He's the guide. He's the.
Oh. What was my voice from before?
It's like a more like a.
Okay, I'll work on it. Oh my god. I don't remember. There's so many.
Okay. Isn't this that I.
Isn't this.
Oh, my eyes.
Relax. Breathe. Go.
Isn't this something that I. Okay. Isn't this something that I, a frail tavern owner, can do? What are guys gonna do? Need my help? Oh, so he like went into their conversation, you know. Adults were talking, and you know.
Okay.
Mentaiko's like, what's y'all doing? So, okay, night parade.
Last part of this episode, guys. Upon being cast and Mentaiko's long shadow at the door was suddenly pushed open, the two had starkly different reactions. The look of surprise on Tsukimi Dango's face faded instantly, a look not caught by anyone other than Junmai Daiginjo. Sensing the fleeting look of shock on Tsukimi Dango's face, Junmai Daiginjo's eyes curled up in satisfaction, and the folding fan in his hand was brought to his lips to hide the impressionable curve of his smiling mouth.
What are you shy saying that?
Kind of have a crush on Junmai, you know? One could very well say that for him, all the trouble he went through arranging this was well worth the surprise look on this otherwise imperturbable man's face, and his exceedingly good mood at the moment manifested in the smile on his face.
Heh, so Moon Rabbit is capable of showing this expression after all.
Look at him. Look at him. Tsukimi Dango, who at this point had already regained his composure, could only look resignedly at the youth and his resplendent smile, letting out a faint sigh. Meanwhile, Mentaiko, upon finding himself being ignored by the other two, put his hands on his hips and gave a look of dissatisfaction.
Hey, I asked you a question. What do you two want to do? If you can't do it, then let the world's greatest, your main man Mentaiko, lend a hand.
Daiginjo, you.
But it's such an interesting plan. If we keep your boss in the dark the whole time, how boring would that be? How boring that would be. Hey, did you hear me? Just what are you two up to? What kind of trouble are you stirring up? Oh, right, Skimmy. What are you doing here? What about Redleaf?
She's fine now. Sea urchins watching her.
Chipper, that's not his voice.
What would I do
It's the
before?
guide voice. It's the secretary voice.
Okay.
Like it's male, like he's male.
Okay.
Okay. Then what are you Daiginjo discussing? What's Night Parade of Demons?
It's a long story. Was that it? Was that it?
No, but
No.
okay.
What did it sound like?
Don't worry, the people listening
I don't
probably
know.
aren't even watching this anyways. Okay. Then how would I just let you two talk? I'll go ahead and get Mentaiko a flagon of wine.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh. No, I mean get some cold refreshments. Oh, he's a kid. I want to. Okay. I want to drink alcohol too.
They say alcohol may stunt one's growth. Stop! They say alcohol may stunt one's growth.
Fine then, a cold drink.
Very good, sir. As Junmai Daiginjo walked out of the room, Mentaiko's face changed. He folded his legs and sat across from Skinny Dango, who regarded the rare, stern look on Mentaiko's face. The hand pouring the alcohol paused slightly, and the bit of alcohol splashed on the table magnified the pattern underneath ever so slightly.
So basically, that was a long way of saying they spilled alcohol. And then just
Yeah.
Okay. Tsukimi, do you have
You
something
trying to
you want?
reach the word count on the essay?
Honestly, but มันเห็นภาพอะ no, sorry. Yeah, you see the picture, you know. Yeah. Tsukimi, do you have something you want to say to me? Oh, okay.
Okay, guys.
Guys, we're gonna stop right there. I'm gonna start again. Okay.
Yep. Let's see the next one's better than this train wreck.
I hope you guys enjoyed this, or oh yeah, and like the reason I'm doing this is because I really want to create content for food fantasy, and there's not many people who like go over the stories, that kind of stuff. So yeah, okay, see ya, bye.
Bye.